Hello everyone, welcome back to another Fallout 4 challenge run. Today we are embracing short-form media by asking the question, can you beat Fallout 4 as House M.D? Let's get straight into it by setting our special stats. Again, not planning very well, as I set my intelligence to 9 and luck to 5 for Idiot Savant, which is pointless because the chances for Idiot Savant go down as your intelligence increases. Once we are done with that, we meet our adopted son Sean, just in time for some fear-mongering through fake news. Just to appease our wife, we head to the vault, and as it turns out, they were telling the truth, so we head on down. After a short nap, we get a little show, and the run begins. First things first, we take our 2 months of salary back. Just like our last run, we can't hurt the rad roaches, so we just close them behind the doors. Now we grab our Pip-Boy and head out of the vault. Then we catch up with Codsworth and grab the Your Special book, taking strength for the extra damage. The next order of business is grabbing our cane from the Lexington Pharmacy. This guy definitely won't be using it anymore. With our weapon for the rest of the run, we search Sanctuary, and with no sign of Sean, we scrap the entire neighborhood for some good old-fashioned shelves. With all this XP, we can get Medic, Big Leagues 1 and 2, Blacksmith, Gun Nut, Science, and finally bring our intelligence to 10. Emboldened by these upgrades, we head to Concord to save everyone's favorite NPC. I head up the church to skip the raiders, not realizing that I forgot to grab a fusion core. Once we have that, we kill all the raiders and meet the Minutemen. We enter the power armor to further the quest, then immediately exit it because it goes against everything that house stands for. Then we begin the grueling task of killing all the raiders and a 20-foot lizard. Luckily, we can funnel the raiders and take them on one at a time, and then mad dash to our safety building, and then it's just a matter of slowly chipping away at the Deathclaw. With that out of the way, we head back to Sanctuary to complete the quest and keep moving to the Great Green Jewel. After we assist in Piper's Lie, we get a quick haircut, then sell everything we own for some pills. If it weren't for my addictions, I would have realized that the syringer is also sold here, but since I'm already broke, I head on to Valentine's office, where we begin the quest to Vault 114. Right before we leave, we quickly upgrade our cane to Spiked and rename it to Cuddy after our dead wife. Now our cane is fully upgraded at a whopping 25 damage. At Park Street Station, I decide to only kill the triggerman at the front, then grab everything I can to trade to Dr. Sun for the syringer. And with this gray suit from one of the triggermen, we officially have all the weapons and armor we will get for this run. As for ammo, I used a glitch that lets me craft Berserk syringes with only 1 steel. Shout out to Ymfah and his pacifist run for that one. And we use the same glitch to make our pack syringes. Now fully geared up, we head back to Park Street Station and begin the descent to Vault 114. The Berserk syringes make my job much easier. I can just sit back. After we clean up the rest, we can enter the vault. For some reason, the Berserk syringe did nothing to this guy, but we can just finish him off with the cane. Being able to deal with enemies from a distance is a huge blessing for this run. I just Berserk a few guys and run past while they fight amongst themselves. Now we pacify Dino, though all I've really done is push back the fight for later. With him out of the way, we can finally save Valentine and work our way back out of the vault. On the way, we run into Dino again, but I still don't want to bother fighting him, so I pacify him again. And then finally we run into Skinny Malone, and just for fun I tried a speech check, and somehow House's charisma pulled through, letting us skip another fight. Once we are outside, we get Nerd Rage, which will be a huge help in the future. Then back at Valentine's office, he talks about some cereal or some bullshit. I wasn't really listening. Then we try to break and enter, but without master lockpicking, I resort to my infamous charisma to get the key. Press the big red button. Then Valentine introduces us to Dogmeat. I followed the path for a while but got bored and decided to just walk straight to Fort Hagen, where I spent the next hour dying over and over again. Since my syringes are completely useless against synths, I decided to just run past these guys. And after a few deaths, we finally make it to Kellogg. But the synths I ran past are definitely making things harder, so I run back to take care of them. Then for whatever reason, hitting these guys aggroes Kellogg. But it ends up working out because I can fight him one-on-one instead of with the other synths. Thankfully, early into the fight, I knock his pistol out of his hand, and it becomes a melee battle. Not too long after that, we put an end to Kellogg, and back where we were supposed to fight him, we destroy the last synths. With that out of the way, we can leave Fort Hagen and watch Fallout 4's equivalent of Nazis arrive.
Comparing me to a Nazi? Nice.
Now in Good Neighbor, we meet Finn, Hancock, and Dr. Amari, who lets us sprint through Kellogg's memories. We discover the secrets of the Institute, teleportation, and finally, I begin the walk to the glowing sea, making a quick stop to see if the Berserk syringes work on super mutants, which surprisingly they do. After that, we get Robotics Expert, which will be useful in like 3 hours of gameplay. Not really sure what I was thinking with that one. And after our mad dash through the glowing sea, we meet Shrek, who tells us to get a Courser chip for him. Now at Green Tech Genetics, we start working our way up, which goes as well as you'd expect. But through a combination of berserks, pacifications, and running past enemies, we finally make it to the Courser. In this moment, my smooth brain decides it will be easier to get the Courser shutdown code, so I activate the elevator and return to Sanctuary. Then I give some jet to Mama Murphy, and with our code, head back, only to realize that starting the elevator already began the fight. So then I load back to before the fight started and take him on like a man. Thankfully, I knock his gun out of his hand on the second swing, leading to an 8-minute long melee battle. Though halfway through, the Courser gets the bright idea of going for the Fat Man, which I luckily grab before him, but apparently NPCs can grab weapons out of chests, meaning I had to disarm him again. Then, after we make sure there are no more weapons, we finally whittle him away and gain the Courser chip. Once he's been adequately teabagged, we leave the synth in her cell and go back to Dr. Amari, who sends us to the worst faction in the game, the Railroad. On the way, we run into a super mutant suicider who shows me why I will never be a professional gamer. I ran into the North Church hoping he wouldn't follow me. Somehow that worked out, I guess. After that, we guess the super secret password and meet the Toaster Lovers. We quickly have Tinker Tom study the chip, then ditch these fools to head back to Shrekky, who gives us the blueprints to enter the Institute. With that, we head to the Minutemen, since their quest is the easiest. They send us to Ten Pines Bluff, who send us to Corvega, where we kill a few raiders then dip. And with that, we can finally build the relay into the Institute. After some beautiful sights, we meet our abomination of a son, then our real son, who sends us on a scavenger hunt for his department heads. And with that out of the way, we go kidnap a raider boss. This time, I decide to just swim straight to the main fight, making this much easier. Now we get to start the Battle of Bunker Hill, where again I run past all the fodder, give the recall codes, and head back out. Father expresses some gratitude by putting us on his board just to tell us he's dying. We then get sent to Mass Fusion, pacify some dudes in power armor since they can't be berserked, and head down to grab the Brazilian alligator. With that in hand, we finally see the benefits of grabbing Robotics Expert, then we get to see some impressive balance skills. Now, Father sends us to kidnap some guy for a just cause. And after that, we create our mixtape, diddle with the controls, then we help out everyone's favorite radio host.
Don't break my stuff if you don't mind.
And finally, we boot up the Institute's reactor, ensuring the death of the Commonwealth. With doom ensured, we take our seat at the head of directors, where we all agree it's time to take care of the railroad. Desdemona makes some egregious accusations about me.
That you've been to the Institute, that you're actually working with those monsters.
Huh?
So I try to teach her a lesson, but being as outnumbered as I am, this was no easy task, especially with Glory and her minigun. I try to go to the exit so I can take them on one at a time, but it's a little hard when they all come through at once. I finally put that smooth brain to use, and I decide to pacify all but one of the agents. Then, when I leave for the exit, only one follows me at a time. This allows me to work my way through the railroad, though it was an extremely long process. With Glory finally out of the way, we make sure that Pam isn't going to be a problem, then loot everything we can from their hideout. With only one more faction between the Institute in complete control, Father sends us down to Advanced Systems, where we learn the plan to hack Liberty Prime, and we're also given some synth relay grenades to help us out.
Don't go tossing them into the bay.
We definitely don't throw them into the bay. Then we head into Boston Airport. Since we can't berserk enemies in power armor, we need to use a lot of pacifist syringes, but I still don't have the damage to take these guys head on. After some looking around, I discover this little parkour spot over here, but without lockpicking, it's somewhat useless. So I do what any sane person would do, and head back to Sanctuary for more shells. Now with expert lockpicking, we throw our grenades back into the bay and head in. After a few failed attempts, I realize that the syringer can destroy the generators, and with one down, we have plenty of sense to soak up damage. We easily get the other two generators down with our army of robots, and now we can begin the hacking of Liberty Prime. Proctor Tegan puts up a bit of a fight, crippling our virus carrier. So we put him out of his misery, just for another one to spawn in. After a long wait, we finally hacked Liberty Prime, who targets the Pridwin as a constant threat.
Communists.
And with that, we have destroyed the Brotherhood for the second time. As cinematic as it looks, it hurts me every time. But maybe next time we'll side with it. With the last chance for humanity burning before my eyes, I return back to Sean. And with his last moments, we have finally beat the game. Now this was a much easier experience than my last challenge run, but it still wasn't perfect. Let me know if you guys appreciated the faster pacing. I'm still trying to figure out how I want these videos to flow. Challenge runs are already a pretty saturated form of content, so I'm not sure if this is what I want to do, but it's always a blast to make them. Anyways, thanks for watching this far. I hope y'all enjoyed. Peace.